Shalom. Call Haloim Yahweh, Bahasham Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Kakodash. Shalom. This is your fellow servant Tazawar from the GMS Orlando camp, here with another lesson. First, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, whom rule well, and from whom we learn this truth. Shalom to Akim who are not in GMS, but are pushing likewise doctrine in spirit and in truth with all sincerity. To you few sisters that are listening and learning, as well as you speckled birds that are scattered among the nations, looking like those nations. To the 144,000 elect men and the rest of the hopeful elect, to you I say, Shalom. This is another video that's inspired by a video that I was watching done by Elder Manat Zakbar, speaking on, I believe he listed it as hashtag challenge accepted or something along those lines, going into one body. All right, he did a response to one body in their lesson. I didn't watch the whole video. I only saw maybe about 5-10 minutes of it. But you know, they were speaking on Esau, Edom, right? The Idumeans, and how, according to one body, they are not the so-called white man. So the challenge that was put forth was to give give proof or some precepts, right, to prove that Esau, Edom, the Idumeans, all right, is indeed the so-called white man, right? So I'm just going to give a couple scriptures to answer that challenge, if that's what you want to call it. And it seems that this topic, you know, it's a circular topic, right? It pops forth every I don't know, 6, 7, 9 months or so. You know, then the brothers hit it. You know, we all hit it real hard, and then they kind of die off with the BS. But I also think that, and this is me as a man speaking, I believe that timing has something to do with it as well. You know, like Vladimir Putin he opened the vault, right? And that has been a controversy in America, you know, one that they've not really pushed in the forefront, but you've seen a few people speak on it here and there. I did a video a week or two ago when that initially first happened, and I spoke on that. So now it's like the counter, you know, they present that information. Well, what should they do now? Well, the counter side of that would be to say, oh, well, you know, the Wyte, Wyte, W-Y-T-E, you know, as one of my brothers says, That's code for WHITE, right? Wahite. The counter side of that would be to push the notion that the Wahite are not the so-called red men, all right, or the pink peoples, the rose-colored people, whatever, all right. The Edomites, so you can understand. So we're just gonna grab a little scripture on that. Let's jump on. Let's start with let's go to Genesis chapter 25. Again, we've spoken on this topic numerous times, but if you're new to the channel or new to the truth, this is you know, when Isaac and Rebekah, Isaac had just had impregnated Rebekah, and the children were growing, and this gives you some insight onto what was happening during the time of her pregnancy. Okay, and so when Rebekah went before the Lord to inquire, like, why am I having these labor pains, right, or all this trouble with this pregnancy, the Lord answered her right here in 23. And the point I want you to take away from this verse is that two nations, all right, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Okay. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. All right. Now listen. I've heard people say numerous times, well, how could one look like the white man and one look like the black man, the so-called white man, the so-called black man, if they were twins, right? Well, listen, people, don't be so damn simple. It didn't say that they were identical. In fact, it says quite the contrary. In the verse above, it says two nations, which that word nation, well, let's get it. Word nation goes into nationality, right? Nations. It says goy, right? Goyi, right? Nation, people, nation, usually of non-Hebrew people, the descendants of Abraham, of Israel, a swarm of locusts, other animals. Goyim equals nation, right? Gentiles, heathen, nation, people. So when you get some understanding on that, let's see what it says right here in this Gaia, right? That don't really tell you. It says the back or behind. Okay. That ain't what we want. But if you use common sense, we know that nation means people. So two types of people, okay? Because nation goes into nationality, right? Ethnicity, so you can understand, right? Not so much place nation as far as like what country you belong to, all right? Because in this time, nation meant people, and we saw that in the definition. So unto her there are two people in thy womb, right? Two nations are in thy womb. Two people are in thy womb. And two manner of people. Manner, that means two different kinds. Okay? Two different kinds of people. Okay? And they shall be what? Separated from thy bowels. So again, like I was saying, there is such a thing as fraternal twins. I myself am a father to a set of fraternal twins. Now, my two just happen to look pretty close to identical, even to people that don't know them, but they're not. All right? They're two separate sacs inside the womb. They came out. Right? And what does fraternal mean? Because when you go into like the real understanding of what a fraternal twin is, that means so identical twins, they have the same genetic makeup, right? So like if you take the blood from one twin and look at it with Esau science, right, or modern day science, and you look at the other twin that's identical, their blood with modern day science, they're gonna be 99.99 like the same, right? Whereas fraternal twins, they're no they're not that closely related. They're no different from people from a child that was born 3 or 5 or 10 years after the other, right? So their genetic makeup is different. And so what we're about to read not only says that they're two nations, two different people, two different genetic makeups, but it also elaborates on that where it says two manner of people, right? Two different kinds shall be separated from thy bowels, right? And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, right? All over like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau, right? So the first came out red. Well, when you look at the so-called white man today, they don't have melanin. Okay? They lack melanin. They lack the carbon in their skin, which is called melanin, which is why they're not brown. They appear to be what some people call white, but they're pale-fleshed. They're not white. They're pale-fleshed, and their blood shows forth through their skin. You can look at that and see you can look at their ears, look at their knuckles, right? Look at their necks. That's where the term redneck came from. When they go into the sun, their true color comes forth. They turn red, right? And the reason it says this here in Genesis 25 and 25, the first came out red all over like in hairy garment, is because during that time, red was a like a popular color for people that had notoriety, money, status. All right. And so they would dye certain garments with red dye. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean he would be hairy, although a lot of Edomites are hairy. All right. But let's go into this name Esau. it says Esau equals hairy. But when you go into the root word, I don't see it here. But when you go into the word, that word in the Hebrew, Ishar, right? It means wasted away is he, right? And you can see right here, when you go up, this word, they say seer, right? Or cr, that means hairy. Okay? So Esau actually means wasted away is he. Ishashua. Isha. I'll be able to do that at a later time. Right. And let's go down. So that's one point right there. But when you go down to 27, it says the boys grew and Esau was a cunning hunter. Well, who likes to hunt? A man of the field who likes to be outside in the woods. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So, and right here, when you read it in the NLT, it says what? As the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter. He was an outdoorsman. But Jacob had a quiet temperament and preferred to stay at home. Now tell me, who likes to be outdoors? Like all them Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, that's up north. Uh, all of the, like I said, hunting, all those skill, that type of skill. Who dominates that type of field, that type of industry? Who spends most of their money at that industry? The so-called white man. But Jacob had a quiet temperament, preferred to stay at home. Stay at home. The so-called Negro. Negroes, they as be at home. All right. Let's keep going. Then it say, verse 30. Well, let's do 29. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. When you read that in the NLT, it says, Esau said to Jacob, I am starved. Give me some of that red stew. And then it says, in parentheses, this is how Esau got his other name, Edom, which means red. So what's in stew? Meat. So when it means red meat, now listen, it's not talking about red lentils. All right. I cook lentils. And first off, the lentils are more of a brownish color. All right. And guess what? When you cook them, they don't turn red. They stay looking brown. So this red meat is what he's talking about. The stew that's in there, that's red. Who likes their meat red? Who eats their steaks rare? Listen, I know it's a couple ways to cook a steak. I can't even tell you. I know it's rare, and then it's another way they cook it to where that shit's still pink. What is it? Medium rare, medium rare? Yeah, rare, medium rare, something like that. All I know is well, well done, medium well, and well done. That's about all I know. I don't even know the other in between stuff. Cause if my shit pink, send it back. Send it back. Please and thank you. And Esau, yeah. So that's another clue, right? These are all clues. Red all over, right? We told you when they go in the sun, they turn red. They like to hunt. That's another clue. Uh, Outdoorsman as a characteristic. That's another clue. They like their meat and pottage red or raw. Not fully cooked. That's another clue. That's 4 right here. We ain't even left Genesis yet. That's 4. All right, now, hold on. Let's grab this. Genesis 27 and 40. And this is Isaac, right? Blessing Esau. This is after Jacob came in after and usurped, right? Esau for the blessing. And by thy so Isaac is here, I'll read it at 39. This is Genesis 27 and 39. And Isaac his father answered unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Right? Well, who has the fat? There's a couple things. Who has the fatness of the earth? Right? Because when Isaac blessed Jacob, it was in reverse. We got the dew from the heaven above first, and the fatness of the earth. But Esau got the fatness of the earth. Right? And then it say what? And by thy sword shalt thou live. Who got the best weapons? Who has the strongest military? Who's known for military might? Who invented the gun? Who invented the nuclear warhead? Don't worry, we'll wait. The so-called white man. 2 more clues, right? And by thy sword shalt thou live. Okay, so not only the blessing of the sword, but is that how he lives? Yes. Let's think of where they say history starts with the Greeks and Alexander. What did Alexander do? Go conquer and kill by the sword, right? That's how they came into power. The Romans did the same thing. War, sword, killing. Right? That's how they under the after Alexander, that's how they got Egypt under the Ptolemaic dynasty. War. That's how they got the Holy Land, right? The Romans took it by force. Well, the Greeks took it, and the Romans commandeered it by force. right? By the sword during the time of the Maccabees. They killed. We gonna get some of that too. All the way up till now, when you go back and you think of uh how were the Americas established? The Native American Indians. How did the so-called white man get them off the land? By the force of the sword. The modern day sword is the gun, right? It's a projectile, but it's a piercing instrument, just like the tip of a sword. Piercing instrument. So they wiped out the Native American Indians, not just here in the what you call the mainland, the 48 states. What about the Caribbean territories? What about the Maroon Indians and the Taino Indians, the Boricua Indians? That's all your uh, so-called Caribbean Latin tribes of the Caribbeans. They landed there first under the island of Hispaniola. How did they conquer all that? By the force of the sword. How was Mexico conquered? How did they get rid of the Inca and the Mayan? Right? The conquistadors by the force of the sword. To this day, what are they doing over in the Middle East now? Remember that shrub, George Bush, the shrub? You know, he's a shrub in comparison to Jeb and Senior, George Senior. But yeah, what did he do over there? The force of the sword. I could go on. The Vietnam War. Well, let's go back before that. You got World War One. You got World War Two. You got the Korean War, the Vietnam War. All force of the sword. Right? War in Afghanistan or the war in Iraq, Kuwait. This is how, like I said, the Korean War and the Vietnamese War, that's how South Korea is an ally. All these people. What? Oh, let's not forget what they did to the East Indians, right? The Elamites, the Hindus, the Hindu people, right? That's why they speak English over there. The British destroyed them by the force of the sword. Everywhere they've gone. Prove me wrong. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, when you have the rulership, thou shalt break off the yoke from off his neck. So when they have the dominion, that they'll break off the yoke, which they done during the Renaissance time, the Renaissance period. Right? And the Renaissance came after what? The Crusades. The time of the Crusades, the Holy Wars, right? Force of the sword under Roman Catholicism. Anyway, I could really stop right there. But let's stay in Genesis. Let's go to 36. I'm going to try to move a little quicker. 36. And it says what? Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Right? Who is Edom? So Esau is Edom. Right? Now when you roll down, it says right here, thus Esau, thus dwelt, this is Genesis 36 and 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, right? Well, what's Mount Seir? Interlinear. Seir. Let's look that up. Proper masculine noun, proper noun with reference to a mountain. Proper noun with reference to territory. Right? Seir, hairy or shaggy. Now that's the proper term. Right? The patriarch of the Horites, the inhabitants of Edom before the descendants of Esau, the Edomites. Right? The land of Edom south of the Dead Sea. So Seir means hairy. But it also refers to what? A mountain range. Now, let's do this. Let's do oh dang. Web search. Mount Seir. This is Mount Seir. Let's go to images. All right. That's clearly in the mountains. You see right here, Mount Seir, Jordan as mountains, right? But then guess what? Click on this. You see it's south of the, Jordan. But when you zoom in, that's literally in the mountains. Literally in the mountains. How about another one? Boom. Petra, site of ancient Edom by Pharrell Jenkins. This is what it looks like over there. What do you notice? Same building construction as today. So they come from living in the mountains, right? Seir means shaggy, hairy, which they are. Esau means wasted away is he, which they are. They use the same building structure even today under what? This predates the Macedonians. Okay? Because the Macedonians, why are they important? Because that's Alexander the Macedon, Alexander the Greek, the Macedonian. They use this same building construction under the Greeks and the Romans. When you look at your Capitol buildings today, here in the US of A, same structure, right? How people build is a culture. Look at that. That's more proof. Oh, hold up. Then it says what? Right here. I didn't even see this. Mount Seir Caucasus. Caucasus, right? Meaning what? Caucasian. They tell you, they come out the Caucasus Mountains. Caucasian. Yeah. All right. So Caucasians dwell from a mountain region, which they come of, right? Now, what else I'm looking for? So the proper term for Caucasians, right, are troglodytes. Troglodyte is the proper way to say cave dweller. Now, verse 15, right? These were the dukes of the sons of Esau. All right. The dukes of Edom. What group of people uses the term dukes today as a classification of royalty or status in society? Don't worry, we'll wait. Right? Dukes of Edom. Duke. Let's grab that word Duke. Tame, docile, which we know is not. What it mean? Chief, right? When you go to the third definition, it means chief or kiliarch. Well, let's look up that word kiliarch. Define kiliarch. Kiliarch in British English is a noun in ancient Greece and Rome. What did I just show you all about in Petra? Greco-Roman style of building, right? But what does it mean? In ancient Greece and Rome, the leader or commanding officer of 1,000 soldiers. So that's what a duke means. Leader or commanding officer of 1,000 soldiers. Kiliarch. That's the actual meaning of when they say a Duke of Edom. Somebody that has command over an army. Because what? They live by the sword. They live by the sword. All right. Right here it says Duke, guide. It says friends, but we know governors, captains, governors. That's really what it means. It don't mean friend, and it doesn't mean tame and docile. They use it as the third definition, a chief, so you can understand. Now, what else? Let's just go in order of the books here. Let's grab Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49. Y'all know what I'm going to. Let's start at 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Now this is, when you read up, this is the Lord explaining to us all the curses that would befall us if we didn't keep his commandments. So these curses would be coming unto the children of Israel, right? You get that in verse 15. But then when you read on, it says what? The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. Right? Well, who came from the end of the earth? First off, who put a yoke of iron on us? That applies to us. So we serve these enemies, and what's their mascot? The eagle, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, right? A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. What did he do in slavery? What does he do in war? What's going on right now over in Gaza, Palestine, Ukraine, right? Especially over there in Palestine, they talking about all of the women and children that are that have become casualties of the attacks from Netanyahu, right? As swift as the eagle flieth. Who got the eagle on their money? Who used the eagle as a mascot through multiple rulerships and dynasties? Greeks, Romans, Spanish, French, British, America, Germans, Russians, all of them, eagle. All right. Now, I'm going to let's get this one. Second Mac. Second Maccabees, chapter 10. Let's start at verse 9. Now, this is talking about the war between Judea, or the southern kingdom, all right, the land of Judea, and whom? The Greeks. Okay, the Greeks. Now, you know through history, this man right here, that's mentioned in verse 9, through Greek history, right? This is 2 Maccabees 10 and 9. And this was the end of Antiochus, called Epiphanes, right? Some people say his name is Antiochus, all right? Antiochus or Antiochus, called Epiphanes, right? Now, he was warring with, again, the southern kingdom, and one group in particular, the Maccabees, who came from the tribe of Judah, right, were fighting battles with these guys. Now, we will declare the acts of Antiochus, or Antiochus Eupator, who was the son of this wicked man, gathering briefly the calamities of the wars, all right. So when he was come to the crown, he set one Lysaeus over the affairs of his realm, and appointed him his chief governor, Seleucia and Phinis, right? For Ptolemus, right? Sounds like what? Ptolemy, right? Or Ptolemaic dynasty. For Ptolemus was called Macron, choosing rather to do justice unto the Jews for the wrong that had been done unto them, endeavored to continue peace with them, whereupon being accused of the king's friend before Eupator, and called traitor at every word, because he had left Cyprus, that Philometor had committed unto him, and departed to Antiochus Epiphanes, right? And seeing that he was in no honorable place, he was so discouraged that he poisoned himself and died, right? So anyway, you get the point to all of that. I'm gonna just jump down and read right here, verse 16, right? Well, verse 15. And therewith all the Idumeans, having gotten into their hands the most commodious holds, kept the Jews occupied, and receiving those that were banished from Jerusalem, they went about to nourish war, right? Then they that were with Maccabeus made supplication and besought God that he would be their helper, so that they ran with violence upon the strongholds of the Idumeans. Now, who's the Idumeans, right? Idumeans is the Greek way of saying Edom. Let's prove that. So let's Idumean. Or Idumea. Let's do that. Idumea. Okay, Idumea. Right? And so this is in Isaiah, where what? The Lord said, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down from upon Idumea. So that's the Lord making war with the people of Idumea, right? And upon the people of my curse to do judgment. So when you read that in the New Test, in the NLT, Salakia, the New Living Translation, it says, and when my sword has finished its work in the heavens, it will fall upon Edom, the nation I have marked for destruction. So that term Idumea, when you grab it in the Strongs, it means Edom. Edom, red, Edomite, Idumean, descendant of Esau, right? Land of Edom, Idumea, right? So regardless of which word, whether Esau, Edom, or Idumea, Idumean is the Greek way to say Edom, right? Anywho, all those things should be proof. All right. And if y'all can't see it after that, then I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, I pray this lesson was edifying. Until next time, I pray that it finds you well. Until next time, shalom.